Hey guys, got video 91 up right now. So I got a few minutes, man, and I figured let me just come out here and throw something down. So yeah, man, somebody had jokes, right? Check this out. I'm trying to get that glare off my glasses, but excuse me, guys. I'm holding the camera, so you know I might wobble a bit. Somebody has some jokes, right? That I know. They was like, "Oh man, I see you lost some subscribers." I'm like, "What are you talking about, man?" They're like, "Yo, you had like 451. Now you down to like 448." So I'm like, "All right, so what's your point?" And like, "I don't know, man. I'm just saying. Look like people starting to drop off." And I'm like, "Why do you have? Being a hater, hating is contagious." Being jealous of people is contagious. It's like, why is this individual all up on my shit, talking about who's quitting or who's unsubscribing and stuff? If people unsubscribe, they unsubscribe, man. I got nothing to do with that. Information is here. I'm here to put it out, and we're gonna take it from there. But anyway, man, as a little side note, man, you guys be aware of people that, you know what I'm saying, they acting like they on your corner, or they go, "Oh yeah, you the man." I don't like people telling me I'm the man, because once I hear somebody say you the man, that's like, I know they're undercover hater and shit, man. Because like, what you boasting me for, man? You know what I'm saying? Now it's different if they were being sincere, but certain individuals, man, they don't be sincere with that shit. That's all bullshit. They just trying to, make your head all big, and then you lower your defenses, start revealing shit about yourself or about your private life, and then they take that and run with it and want to start putting that intel out there to other people. I ain't worried about that bullshit, man. Come on. Multi-dimensional, man. Anyway, so look, somebody wrote me a message, man. Damn, I don't have it up here. All right, it's on my phone. I can't see it because I'm using the phone, obviously. But it was in regards to, like, I think it's like B-Dog on YouTube. What's up, B-Dog? He screamed B-Dog, something. There's a number after it, but I just remember B-Dog. Hope it wasn't D-Dog. I apologize. B-Dog or D-Dog, if you out there. Excuse me. So this brother was like, "Yo, I watched all your videos up to number 70. And he was like, what do you think about this?" And he sent me an article. And the article is basically getting into some shit like about, we live in a prison planet and all that stuff, man. Prison planet, and we trapped. Now, I don't know if I talked about these type of things in the past. I appreciate it. Thank you, B-Dog or D-Dog. I'm sorry, I can't see it. Appreciate it for sending me that link. But to tell you the truth, man, honestly, like, this is on some real shit as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't play into that too much, man. Like, I know that's big now and that's like popular, and I know there's like a lot of videos out there with people talking about, "Oh, we're trapped, we're in a prison planet, and we gotta fight, and how do we get out of this and break the reincarnation cycle?" But I don't look at it like that, man. I mean, I understand that it's easy to go that route and to say, like, that we're trapped and that we there's other forces blocking us off, because at some points it does feel like that, and it does seem like that, especially when you got cats out here that's like dictating moves, and on the political level, things like that. You got all these organizations, companies, corporations and shit. If you ain't a part of none of that, and most of us are not, you do feel like your life is being, dictated to you. And it is on many levels. I went into another video on that about choices, choices that, pre-selected choices that are given to us. But, you can't really get into too much, man, about like, yeah, we're trapped here, because, see, this is why in all my videos, right, like, I know a lot of cats out there, and more power to them, man. Like, they make videos about, we trapped, there's a prison planet, and we gotta break loose, and I don't know, whoever, archons, gray aliens, whatever, and whoever is holding us back, and this is why we can't do this. And I even hear some people go as far as, "But I can't lucid dream no more, man, because the archons, or they some force, an entity or whatever it is blocking me. And that's why I can't use my powers. That's a very dangerous road to go down, man. Because it's like, once you go down the road of assigning powers and abilities to other individuals that can use this over you to hold you back, then there's no limit, man. You're gonna always find and justify an excuse of why you can't succeed in life and why you can't do certain things to motivate. So yeah, man, I know how it is here. Like I said this many times, this ain't our first time around. I mean, for some of us it is, but for a lot of us, this ain't our first time around the block, man. Meaning coming into a human life. It's just how it is, man. Individuals come in, we go out, we come in, we go out. And at some point, we just get bored of the whole shit and we don't come back. But, the more and more you go through this and you keep going in, coming out, going and coming out, it's like, don't get caught up. Like, a lot of cats get caught up in, like, oh, I want to know what my other lives were, my reincarnational cycle. I want to know, was I a great king? And that's another trap, because it's like, all lives, we're living all lives simultaneous, man. Everything is happening. Everything is happening simultaneous. Keeping track of time, Everything is happening at a simultaneous level. All times are now. So if you want to start stressing about, what was my past life? Was I a great king or was I a peasant? That's a trap, because what if you were just nothing? What if you were just a homeless guy in your past life? Or what if you are, anything that doesn't make you feel good about yourself. If you fall into any of those kind of categories with some past life, then you feel there's no hope, and then vice versa. If you feel, so all my past life, I was a great king, I was a pharaoh, I was this, then all of a sudden you feel amped up. But the point is, you're living all these lives now, man. It's like it's all happening right now. So yeah, and some lives, somebody asked me one day, they're like, are you gay? I was like, of course I am. They're like, well, I didn't know that. Oh my God. I was like, well, not in this life. And they're like, eh? And it comes down to like, yeah, of course, quite naturally, in another reality, parallel this one, I'm homosexual, or whatever you want to call it. And that's just a preference, In this life, I'm not. In this physical life, I'm making this video, but ain't nothing wrong with that. If you're gay, you're gay. I mean, what? That's another thing. I don't want to jump the gun and detour, but, on that level real quick, it's like, you are whatever you want. If you're gay, you're a lesbian, whatever you want to do, that's just you, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about trying to prove a point or, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm gay and proud if you're doing it because you want to say that and you feel good about it. But if you're doing it to prove a point, don't waste your time on that shit, man, because there's always going to be somebody waiting to bash somebody for something, So, homosexuality's been around for ages, man. It's been around a long time, way before we even came up with the word homosexuality. But for some reason, shit's been twisted and made into this big taboo, man. You like what you like, whatever it is. I just saw a YouTube video today where this guy says he had sex with a fucking dolphin. It's like, yo, man, there are no rules. You do what you want. I'm not into animals, but some people are. He claims, you check out the documentary, it's on YouTube. It's like, just type in man has sex with dolphin. And this guy is in this very serious documentary that's like 15 minutes long. He goes into full detail about how he was at some kind of aquarium or some shit. And he said this dolphin courted him. He was like, the dolphin basically was picking him up and was throwing signs. Long story short, he ends up having actual intercourse with a fucking dolphin. So it's like, if a man can have sex with a dolphin, what's the big deal of two men having sex with two women, man? It's like, it's whatever, to each his own, man. But anyway, back to the story, right? Oh God, dolphin love. Anyway, so look, man, it's like this. We're in all these lives at the same time. Don't worry about a prison planning. Am I trapped? Am I this? See, all right. I might have to make another video on this, man, because, like, I'm always in a rush and shit. But check this out. I know a lot of times in a lot of my videos, I've gone to things like, you need to, all my videos from day one, you've never heard me go into rants about, oh, the evil demons are holding me back, and this. It's always been about self-power from the very beginning. Self-power, building your power, and acknowledging and realizing your own abilities. So why is that so important though? A lot of individuals out here in this so-called spiritual world, or whatever you want to call it, they all say things like, oh, you have the power's within you, we're all one, you're a powerful soul, your nature. They'll tell you all this shit, but they're not really giving you, they're not really giving you the 411 as to what's really going on, what it's really all about, So what does that all mean? I'll break it down to you right now, man. The reason why it's so important for you to understand and comprehend that the power must come from you is because when you assign it to other individuals, whether it be people, whether it be entities, whether it be gods, whether it be demons, whatever it is, if you assign your power to others, there's no win. That means the power can be taken away. If you don't do this magic ritual right, the gods will get angry. If you don't do this, if you don't give this offering the correct way, this spirit might come at you, might get angry. You've upset the spirits now. You'll always be at the mercy of others, whether they be physical or non-physical entities in a reality. And you set yourself up for failure. When you acknowledge that the power comes from you and it originates with you, then you're able to transcend to a whole new level of understanding. Even your questions, the questions that you ask, begin to come out different. It's like these videos, right? It's like, where does all this information come from? On one level, some might say, oh, well, you've read certain books and things. But I'm a reader. I've always been a reader. In this life and many others that are going on right now, I like to read. But on another note, when I turn on this camera, I never really know where I'm going with anything. I turn the camera on and it's a feeling. And it's like, once I start talking, all the information just starts coming through me, Now I'm not saying I'm a channel and I'm channeling energy from the higher realms and all that. This is just knowledge that is out there for everybody. We all have access to it. But most individuals don't want it, so I could make 1,000 videos about how to access this power and what all this knowledge means and the deeper understandings of, the multi-dimensional realms and all that. But it don't mean shit if you don't understand it. Yeah, I understand it, not all of it, because I'm still learning, but I understand a lot. And even on the level of things I do understand compared to the grand scale, it still ain't shit. It may wow and woo the masses, or a few people that come around, they might get entertained by what I say, and I still don't know shit. And that's where the power lies, is that knowing that as much as I learn, I still don't know. You see, I have a good understanding, and that's only because I've gone into this many times, that creativity is infinite. There's always going to be new things to learn. It never ends. So when you say, I don't know everything, that's not to put yourself, or not to put myself or yourself down to say, well, I don't know everything. It's true. You don't know everything because new things are always being created. But that doesn't mean you don't know something. See what I'm trying to say? Just because you say you don't know everything doesn't mean that you don't know anything. You don't know certain things. Compared to the average Joe, yeah, I know a lot of things. I have a pretty good understanding of a lot of things that most people don't, and that's simply because I actually focus on these things, so that information comes to me. You focus on, just say mathematics, or the certain sciences, or stocks and business. That's what you get. That's the information you pull in. Me, I'm more of a free soul, so information just comes to me, man. So, right, back to what I was saying, once you assign the power to other individuals, whether they be, once again, physical or non-physical. It could be, when I say physical, it could be a guru. Oh, you got to speak to Baba Ali G. Muhammad. He has all the information. He knows all. You gotta go to this guru, you gotta go to this person. Or, where there's the non-physical, man. Specific gods and entities and all that. You have to understand that the power is always yours, man. Even when you assign it to others, even when you assign it to spirits, entities, gods, with all these titles, when you assign it to those forces, and if these things manifest or they come to you in dreams and all this stuff, you're still working with your own power, because that's just another portion of yourself. Now, when you assign it to other individuals that are in the human realm, that's different, because now you're dealing with some individual that wants to maintain his or her status, and the only way to do that is by having you give up your own power to them. So that's a whole, you guys know how that is, man. So, going back to, you could always lose it, man. That's just, it's so good when you understand that it's all coming from you and you're the center. Like, this sounds so easy that it's actually really difficult. It's so complicated for the individual to comprehend and acknowledge that the power is originating from themselves. It's like we jump all over the map, man. I said this before. You get people, they go way to fucking India. They go deep into the Himalayas. They go into Tibet. They want to meet the monks. They travel to the ends of the earth and the deepest oceans and even space if they want to. They go to all these places to try to get this information, man, that you could have in one moment of closing your eyes and just shutting everything out and focusing on your inner reality, and all this stuff comes to you. You don't need to go to India to get a fucking guru to tell you this stuff and just beat you over the back with a stick and tell you how dirty and evil you are because you're human, and or have a priest tell you about original sin. Let me give you guys a little update, man. This is like this little jump from my private life now, right? I may have said this in the past, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Back when I was in high school, I went to Catholic high school pretty much my whole life, right? There was a time when, I think I did talk about this, but there was a time when my abilities were starting to spike. In your life, you have certain times when your abilities seem to be spiking, like they're just jumping all over the place, they're growing. And I remember that. I remember when it all started, right? It was like, it started from my grandmother's house. And, like I said before, my grandmother, they're from Birmingham, Alabama. So I used to be at my grandmother's house, and she had these like beads that hung from the ceiling, like, beads that you walk through at an entrance, and they were all the way down almost to the floor. I remember when I would be in the bedroom, I hear the beads moving, and it was the sound of beads moving. And when I would peek, there was nothing, it was silent, and there was no wind or nothing, and this happened all the time. And that was stage one. Then stage two was when I was young, as a little kid, I used to stare into the mirror, and I used to be like in a trance almost, looking at myself, and I used to be thinking about shit like, how do I know any of this is real? How do I know if I'm real? What is real? And these were like, I would just be spacing out thinking about this stuff. Then, as I was getting a little bit older, other things started happening. Like, for example, I would be sitting down and suddenly a thought would pop in my head, Back to the Future, Part 2. And then I would turn on the TV and it's like, this week on the WB, Back to the Future, Part 2. Then it started with music. I would be in a car, and out of nowhere, a song would pop in my head, and I turned the radio, and that song would be playing on the radio. It was like, or it would come up like, a few minutes later, the same song. This was happening so much that I went to my priest, right, when I was in high school, like a counselor. And I was young, I was probably about 16 or some shit. And I was like, look, I have questions, man. I have these abilities. I don't know what they are. And I explained to him exactly, I said, this is what happens, and sometimes the thought images come to me, and then they happen like exactly right after I see things. And man, now this ain't a video about bashing the church and all that, but he didn't help me. See what I'm trying to say? Like, this is the purpose of why, like, if you want to call it a consciousness movement and all that, but it ain't really a movement because we're all in it anyway. But this is why it's important to have individuals to talk about this stuff with. The priest gave me no answers, man. Like, I feel honestly, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't feel that the priest are equipped to deal with certain things. Because like he was like, oh, well, you know, my son, the devil comes in many forms, and even if that was true, it's like it wasn't an answer. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like instead of him, I don't know what I expected him to do. I was young, you know what I'm saying? But whatever he said to me, it wasn't satisfying enough to just tell me that the devil comes in many forms and I have to be careful and you need to suppress these things because it's going to be bad for you and all that. It's like, there was nothing wrong. It wasn't like I was spooked or anything. I didn't tell him that I was afraid. This was just shit that was happening. These were experiences I told him exactly how they was going down. It wasn't about evil spirits or none of that. It was just talents that were coming out, abilities. Now, I was young, right? But if I was a weak individual, see what he said, like what he told me, that could have fucked my whole life up. I could have went on a whole, oh my God, the devil's trying to get me. It's a demon. I'm possessed. Thank God I didn't live like with some kind of fucking, religious fanatic, parents and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Because my whole life would have been ruined, man. So I would have been thinking I'm possessed. And that idea could have, stayed with me for years, Thank God I'm multi-dimensional, man. So illusions always, I'm able to break through them. But yeah, man. So sorry, gotta keep time. I got a few minutes. I might make a part 2 to this, man. Focusing on how the power is all with you and everything, because I think it's really important to get into. Like we gotta really focus on this concept. It's not even a concept; it's reality. That all the talents, skills, it all lies within you, man. Now there's nothing wrong. I said this before. There's nothing wrong if you want to play, if you want to use certain belief systems, whatever they are. But I don't care what system you believe in or what rituals you do. At the end of the day, all that stuff is just for, to focus your mentality, to hone your abilities into a specific medium to get them to work. See, I'm not against ritual and all that. If the purpose is, if you understand the purpose, if you're doing a ritual, or if you work on specific deities or whatever you want to call it, and you understand that the goal is because you're not strong enough or confident enough to harness your powers, and you might need that extra boost of something to direct them into and to work through them to get it to work. I understand that. See, if I was to work a ritual or something, or do any of that kind of stuff, for me it's like, well, at this point right now I feel a little bit weak. Today my powers feel low. I don't feel confident enough that I could pull this off, so I'm gonna need to harness my abilities and my focus, my concentration into this ritual or this performance, and this is gonna give me that kind of like, it's like you're giving yourself backup to make things work, if that makes sense to you or not, So it's like, and it could be powerful. I'm not knocking it, you know what I mean? Like I said, it takes a lot of magic for the individual to realize that his power, a lot of his power, the power comes from you, you know what I'm saying? So I completely understand, and when you start working with things like with rituals, if you're doing them in group rituals and things like that, that's what makes it even more powerful, because now it's not just you. You have a group of individuals, whether they're chanting, whether they're drumming, blood sacrifice from themselves, whatever. That's just powerful, man. It could be sex, running through the woods naked on a full moon. All that type of stuff is magnified when you're with other individuals who, fall into the same camp as you when it comes to thinking, and certain types of mentalities. So, but even with all of that, even with the people running naked in the woods, even with the people chanting and playing the drums and all that, at the end of the day, it still comes down to you harnessing your powers through a medium. The medium meaning whatever device you want to use and the ritual that you're using. But the whole goal, the goal of the ritual, this is the goal, right? I think I will make a part 2 on this, but I might have to leave off on this. The goal of all ritual, what do you call it? Magical rituals, spiritual practices, magical workings. The goal should be for all individuals involved Drum roll. I'm sorry, getting a cramp in my hand. I'm holding this. Yeah, the focus should be for the individual to come to the understanding that at some point, maybe not now, maybe not a year from now, maybe not a few years from now, but I hope sooner than later, the goal should be the understanding that this is just, I'm using this now because I'm not strong enough to harness my power and my abilities and my talents into what I want. So I have to use this other type of medium. But the goal should be to leave all that stuff behind at some point. You need to evolve beyond that. You need to move beyond the ritual trappings. You need to move beyond the practices and only use them if you understand that I'm using these now because I want to use them. Not because I believe that the candles have the power or the magical artifacts have the power or the statues of specific gods and deities have the power. You must comprehend that the power is yours and you're just using these things because you want to. That makes it more fun. Maybe you have a good time, chanting or worshiping certain statues and stuff. Nothing wrong with that if you understand that the power is yours. Now, if you don't understand that, then you got some shit to worry about because if you believe that you're getting your power from specific things, that power can always, it's like, look, I wear all these rings and stuff, right? I love my rings. I feel a deep spiritual conscious disconnection with my jewelry. But for no second do I think this ring has the power because look, rings can get lost, rings can get stolen, I can get mugged, somebody can steal my jewelry. What happens then? Oh, I can't have my power now because my magical ring is gone. Now, don't get me wrong, if I lose a ring, I'm pissed off. I haven't lost a ring yet, but if I did, I'll fucking be crying because I love all my jewelry, man. I'm deeply attached to it. I've done specific rituals with them and things that, when I felt I needed it. But, I've graduated past all that. I like having all these things because I just like wearing them. And they make me feel good and they keep me, it's like an anchor for me. I might have to teach y'all about that in the next video. Has something to do with lucid dreams or consciousness going out of body and jewelry. I think way back I made a video on like ring magic. Maybe I'll make another one. Let's see. If I have time today, I'll come back. It'll be a part 2. But I gotta get out of here for now. So that's just a little something for you guys to meditate on, man. Alright. This is Seth. Take care. Later.